So how do you build a moat around your business? Now, there's a question that your investors are going to ask you, and it goes like this. How do you keep your competition from doing what you're doing? Now, there's a short-term answer to this and a long-term answer to this, and I'm going to answer both these questions in today's video. So let's get started. So how do you answer the short-term question about building a moat around your business? Let's be honest. When you're starting out, you can't have a moat. It's virtually impossible. So what do you answer this question and how do you do it? Because it's a trick question. Investors know really, really well that you don't have a moat around your business, but they're interested in how you answer the question. Do you acknowledge it or don't you acknowledge it? So the way that you acknowledge it is twofold. First is you talk about the strengths that you have. Why are you 100x better than the competition? Because at the beginning, that's the closest thing to a moat that you have. But how can you keep your competition from doing what you're doing? The answer is you can't. And that's the reality. Another smart team can come along and probably do exactly what you're doing. That's reality. So acknowledge it. Say, you know what? Our competition can do what we're doing, but it's going to take their best engineers that they're going to have to take off their favorite projects to do exactly what we're doing. That's how you answer the question in the short term. So now let's talk about how you build the advantage in the long term. To build a moat around your business, you have to have a technology advantage versus your competition. So let's focus there first. What's the technology advantage you have? Explain that, understand that, and then build on it, relentlessly build on it. Never stop innovating. Have a culture of innovation all the way through your company's life, all the way through. Then you have to be able to build your team. That's part of building on your technology advantage. If you've got a core team of really great engineers that are working well together, you need to keep adding to it as time goes on. So you're building more and more strength in that team. And then what eventually happens is your team becomes part of the moat because you've got such a strong engineering team and you've corralled all the best talent in your industry. If that's where the key resource is engineering talent, you've corralled all of it, that's how you win, right? That's a tough moat to crack if you're a competitor. So think about that. The next, let's talk about switching costs. How hard is it to switch from your company to a competitor's company? Sometimes you can control everything, and that's really what you want. When I think back about the industry that I spent most of my career in, analog ICs, our customers' knowledge of what we were doing kept going down as our industry matured. So we had the knowledge of how to build the circuits and how to implement the circuits. Our customers didn't. So the switching cost of switching from a solution that worked because they viewed it as kind of like black magic, this black art. It actually works. Do we want to screw around with it? Hell no, we don't want to screw around with it. We're happy with what we have, so let's not switch a damn thing. That switching cost goes for generations because nobody wants to switch when they don't know whether the next solution is going to work. So you can build huge switching costs into your product. And that's a way to build a big old moat around you and your company. So think about that as something that you can do that can really help you build switching costs in where it's really tough to go to another competitor besides you. Now, great customer support can be a tremendous barrier to entry as well. In fact, it's one of the easiest things to separate you from your larger competitors. You care more about every single deal in a way your competitors never will. So show it. Make it easy to do business with you in a way that it isn't with your competitors. Bend over backwards for your customer in a way that your competitors would never bend over backwards for their customers. These things add up. The classic example of a company that did this in an industry with no differentiation at all was Zappos. Their whole moat was customer service. Imagine that, selling shoes. Now, I'm selling a shoe, you're selling a shoe. What's the difference? It's all price, right? Well, in Zappos's case, They made it about customer service, making support a key differentiator in their business model. You can do the same thing in whatever you're doing and learn those lessons of making your customer service concierge level, where nobody wants to do business with a competitor because they don't care in a way that you care. These things really, really, really work. We implemented something like this at my company and it worked like a charm. Customers loved us for it. So let's review the 5 advantages you can have in building a moat for your company, okay? Let's go. The first is you need a technological advantage and you have to build on it. That's number 2. Number 3 is then you have to build your team. The stronger your team gets, that can be its own moat in itself. If you corral all the engineering talent, boy, that's tough to compete against. Number 4, high customer switching costs can be a huge barrier to entry. So if you build things into your solution or that you're providing a lot of value that your customers can't easily replicate and they're more dependent upon you, then that is a huge barrier to entry. Finally, number 5 on our list, great customer support can create a big barrier to entry too. Think of Zappos. What can you do to make it easy to work with you? What can you do to create a great customer experience? What can you do to do all of these things? I'm Brett at brettjfox.com. Have a great day.